What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another video, and I hope you all are doing well during this crazy time of 2020. I know it seems to be like one thing after another, but I hope you all are keeping your spirits high and finding, some type of way to stay positive. So this week, I want to talk to you guys about leveling within the game of Clash Royale. Now, I'm not going to talk about the basics of, donating cards and leveling your cards, and that's how you get King's level experience. Those are pretty basic, but I wanted to talk to you guys about two different methods that you can take within the game that will, determine how you want to really play the game overall. So the first method I wanted to talk to you guys about is focusing on one deck. Now, I think this is common sense with any card game, but I wanted to go into it because sometimes it's just not clear cut as it may seem. So when you're focusing on a deck within Clash Royale, you want to pretty much build a deck that you are never really going to get tired of, that you really enjoy. It might be something that you came up with yourself, it might be something that you looked on the internet for and you just like the playstyle of it, but you're pretty much going to take the 8 cards in your deck and then also add 1 to 4 additional cards that you'd like to swap in and out of the deck, and those are the only cards you're going to focus on leveling. Now, there are 99 cards within the game of Clash Royale, so that means there's 87 different cards that you're just not really going to focus on. You may get copies of, but you don't have to worry about. Now, this is good in a way, just because when you're focusing on these 8 to 12 cards, that means anything outside of that can be donated or traded away. And this can be helpful because anytime you see in your clan someone wants a card that you're not focusing on, go ahead and donate copies of it. That gives you King's level. This will also allow you to trade because you'll have additional copies of other cards that you may not be using, and you may be looking for specific cards, obviously, for your 8 to 12 cards. And trading is easy that way. You don't feel like you're really losing anything at that point. And by focusing on a deck, this will give you the best chance at actually climbing the ladder. And what the ladder, I mean battle mode or the trophy path. There's multiple different names. Majority of the people call it the ladder. And this is what I truly think is the, I guess you could say, end game of Clash Royale. And the reason I say that is, even though you are gaining rewards and stuff for climbing, this is really based off of ranking, and any ranking within a game is pretty much a flex to how good you are at the game. Ultimately, 7,000 is like your last ranking tier, and then anything after that is just, I'm just better than everyone else type thing, and there's a leaderboard and all that type stuff. So, if that's your ultimate goal in the game of Clash Royale, I definitely recommend doing this, just because this is going to be your quickest way to get there. And by focusing on a deck, this will allow you to obviously play well during the ladder mode. It'll also allow you to play well in the challenge modes, the Grand Challenge and Classic Challenge, because you can play the exact same deck, it just caps you out at 9. So there's nothing that you're really losing there. It just puts everyone on a semi-even playing field. But if you are sticking to the one deck, obviously you're going to know matchups, you're going to know how to play your deck, you're going to master it, and you're going to do very well with it. So overall, you're not really losing out on too much when you're focusing on a deck and leveling that way. The only thing that you're really going to lose out on are maybe clan wars, because they do give you random cards on collection day, and so when you go into your clan cards, you may get some cards that you just haven't leveled or focused on, and they might just be lower level. So when it comes to day 2 of Clan Wars and you go to battle, your cards just may not be the same tier as your opponent. Now, is that a huge deal? No. You just participating in Clan Wars helps out the clan. So I don't honestly think it's a huge deal that, you may not focus on every card in your collection. That's just, it's just a con to focusing on just one deck. The only other thing as well is maybe there's a special challenge and it's like triple elixir or something like that, and you just don't have certain cards to build a decent deck at a decent level. Once again, special challenges are fun, they do give you cool rewards, but a highly competitive thing, not really. So, and I think if you are focusing on a deck, you are more of a competitive player, not very casual. And so I think, you know, the cons on this don't really outweigh any of the pros. So I definitely think overall this is probably the way to go if you're looking at, you know, climbing the ladder majority of the time, and doing grand challenges. Now, the route that I went, and I don't regret going this route, I just am finding a lot of issues with it now that I'm wanting to get more competitive, and that is evenly leveling cards. So, obviously, what it sounds like is it is what it sounds like. I mean, you pretty much want to level all your cards evenly, and that means you're gonna be having issues letting go of some cards when you donate, or maybe you're not trading cards. Like, for example, if you go into my trades, you can see I have many tokens for commons, rares, epics, and legendaries, and that's just because I've been focusing on leveling everything. And the reason I went this route is I'm not a one, I just can't focus on one deck. I get very bored when playing certain archetypes of decks, and so I just need multiple different decks to play with. And that's just the way my mind is. I just don't like to play with the one deck for a long period of time. And so I think this is good, in terms of it will allow you to experiment with all the cards. So you can build your own decks. You aren't always, you know, looking for a deck online, focusing on the one deck and stuff like that. Like, this will allow you to play around with cards, see what you like, see what you don't like, and then, you know, eventually you can swap over to a different deck and you can play a different deck. And like, to me, I thought that was more important, for what I wanted to do. And then I also was like, oh, well, you know, the grand challenges are capped out at level 9. So if I get everything to level 9, I could play whatever deck I want to in a grand challenge and, you know, have fun with it. Now, grand challenges and classic challenges do cost gems, so ultimately in the end, if I want to consistently play grand challenges and classic challenges, then yes, I'd probably end up spending money unless I'm, you know, waiting out gaining gems from chests and stuff like that in order to, you know, pay for the entry fee. Now, where I'm having issues with this is the ladder, and this is the exact opposite of if I focused on a deck, because right now I'm at 4930, and at 4930 I'm running into people that may be the same king's level. They might be level 10, but they have level 12, 13 cards. And all my cards, for the most part, are level 9. I have like one a level 11, I think, in my current deck right now. Yeah, I have 11 of Pekka. Everything else is level 9. Now, when my level 9 stuff is going up against level 13 stuff, or even level, you know, even a single level or 2 levels above my cards, it's a struggle because they just have more HP and they have more damage. And it's just simply people out leveling your cards are just gonna be, it's just gonna be harder. Now, not to say you can't outmaneuver and outplay certain players, but it does generally just make it harder. And so I found myself wanting to focus more on the ladder now that I've, you know, played around and I've, you know, found some cards that I like and stuff like that. But now I'm running into the issue of, you know, I've hit a wall within the ladder where I'll go up a couple rankings and then I'll get knocked back down because I run into multiple people playing just high level cards. I've even ran into people at level 8 or 9, but they have level 12, 13 cards, which is, you know, crazy to me because that's very much dedication to a certain deck or cards. But yeah, so I mean, those are the two different ways that you can level within Clash Royale, method wise. Now, I ultimately think the deck focused route is the better route because it allows you to play the most out of the whole game if you want to be that way. Now, if you want to, play around, build your own deck, figure out things on your own, then yes, evenly leveling your cards is definitely the way to go. I don't Obviously I don't regret my decision. I'm still having a lot of fun with the game. It's just now that I want to be competitive, now I'm, switching my mindset to, oh, you know what, maybe I shouldn't be leveling this card. Hence why you see this 28 down here. There's 28 cards that I could be upgrading. I just haven't because there's no reason for me to at this point. I'm trying to focus more on certain specific decks and stuff like that. So yeah, I wish I knew that before. I was recommended by my brother to actually level a specific deck, but I knew that I wasn't going to be happy sticking to one deck, and so I somewhat ignored it. But I thought, it's a key thing for new players coming into the game to know, because they might just be how I am, and they might regret, oh, I could have had like 2 or 3 other different decks, but I focused on just this one, and I don't like playing this deck anymore, and they end up quitting. This route, you can play whatever cards you can play for fun. You can play party mode, the 2v2 battle, try it out, that type of stuff. Experiment and just have fun with the game. Later on, yeah, you may get competitive, you may want to climb the ladder like I am, but you can switch at any time to focus on a deck. I mean, you could go the route of leveling everything until you find a combination of cards that you just fall in love with and you see yourself playing for a very long time, and then you swap over to focusing on those cards. Ultimately, that's the greatest goal, is to figure out what you want to play and what you can play for a long period of time and go after that. So yeah, I just wanted to make a conversation out of that, kind of let any new players coming into the game know those 2 methods, because I think that's pretty important. It lets you determine if you want to stay in the game, because if someone gets very bored with a game, they're gonna just drop it altogether and not play it. And so instead of diving in and guessing, oh, maybe I should just level every card and then them regretting that, I'd rather them know these 2 different methods and the ultimate end game of Clash Royale and how to get there. But yeah, so I hope you all found this very helpful. For any new players or even players that are looking at getting into the game, I do recommend these 2 methods. Preferably, focusing on a deck if you're really a competitive person, or focusing on evenly leveling cards if you're more of a casual, want to have fun, experiment with different cards type person. So please go ahead and check out my socials above, and also don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button if you found any of this very helpful, and I will see you guys next week. See ya!